Now this is a pump frame that's been completely stripped, sandblasted, and it's in the process of being reconstructed. You can see that the junction box is free of all wiring. They've repiped all the outs with new copper tubing. They've been through the meter. They've wet tested everything. They've got the motor and the pumping unit connected. We're getting ready to go into the reset and start the wiring process. This new light pan comes equipped with the holes that are required to reconnect your reset with the conduit open, and the CPU mounting holes. You'd have a CPU here if it's just a single, or you'd have one here, and also on this side if it's a twin. Something that Pump and Tank does different than what you do in the field, but it is an option. They use an empty hole at the top of this junction box, and they run a conduit straight up to this hole here, and this is where all of the control wires for both sides of the pump will go down. It makes it easier than mess around with the wires in the reset housing and wire nuts. The fewer connections you make, the fewer chances of a bad connection you have.
This is a Bennett 4013 single suction pump valve 75 pumping unit. We're going to demonstrate today how a VRR goes into one of these units. We already have the VRR top pan which comes with the unit installed. We already have our wires pulled. My name is David Jackson. I'm with P&T Electronics, and I'm here with Tom McConaughey from TMS. And we're going to go through instructions on how to install a VRR in a Bennett pump today. This is one of our rebuilt pumps, and we're going to install a VRR. This one is going to be pulse output, so we'll go through different formats we can do. We can do pulse output, which is pulsing to a mechanical console like a TMS 800F, or as a MPC, or with a card or key system. We can also do wireless with a VRR wireless with an antenna will be mounted inside this unit, and it will talk to an EZ console. We can also do online with Rubies, MPC electronic, EZ electronic, Gilbarco protocol, Wayne protocol, and Tocom protocol. It's a very versatile platform. Right now we're going to go through the parts that come with a VRR. A Bennett VRR comes with a new light box, a new ballast with lamp ends, and a CPU mounted into the unit. Our display cable and an interconnect cable. This is our display with pulsar mounted in the base for a Bennett. It has the mounting bolts and screws to mount the Vrr electric reset to the side of the unit, and it will be one of the last things we install. Yeah, I got it recording. Okay. Anyway, you always want to carry, can you see me? You always want to carry with you a conduit cutter for 1/2 inch or 3/4 or a uni bit, each one, because these old pumps, there's no telling what's been wired into the light box. The valves they were valved in the 70s or 80s, homemade valving. This particular pump has got factory valving in it. We rebuilt it, got new wiring in it to match the colors on our cable. Now this particular unit, the conduit comes straight up through here. We did have to cut a 1/2 inch conduit hole for this conduit in this light box, and actually had to remove the ballast and move it to the back side where we have installed it. We'll go through how the wires hook up. All the new lamps are T8 lamps, F17 T8s. The T12s will no longer be available due to regulatory, they become obsolete and no longer made. Flip in the light lamp holders. Now we're going to wire our lamps. Okay, start it.
I think these ballasts typically wire up just like any other ballast. You've got the black and the white for the AC hot and neutral that are going to come into the ballast. You've got the red and blue wires that are going to power the lights. It's just a matter of connecting these red and blue wires to your new lamp holders. It's a good idea to twist the wires together, keep your light box as neat as possible. Just one of those things you take a little bit extra time and it really looks nice.
The blue wires will go to the top 2 plugs. One to one side. One to the other top.
The wires just push in to the little
pull back hole. And the grab.
That's a good check to make sure you're making a good connection in there. If it pulls out, you didn't push that wiring in far enough.
Other side. It's going to go in the bottom. That way, if one of the lamps it goes out and no longer burns, the lamp that's still good will burn. These will go in the bottom. One on the front side. Take your wire that you had left over.
Oops, a little bit too far.
The bottom on the other side, and you're done.
So we've got that's what he's talking about when he's talking about the top or the bottom. There's holes at the top and the bottom of this connector or lamp holder. And
these are our wires coming from inside. Since we've rebuilt this pump, all the colors will match the colors on our cable. The only thing different about this particular pump is, since all the wires come up through this center conduit, normally they will come up here through the reset from here, and you'll have to wire down through. Wiring harness. Normally, if our wires were coming up from the bottom up into the reset bottom, we'd wire down through here and change the cover. We have since wired this through the switch that's in the electric reset for the handle. So we don't have to go down through with our connector this way. What I plan to do, next two wires, this is our data. We're going to do Gilbarco protocol, and we're going to plug it into Gilbarco Wayne here on the CPU. Those are data wires. Normally what I do with those is I twist them, keep them as a pair. We'll shorten them and wire nut them in just a moment.
Dave talked about earlier about how versatile this CPU board is. It does talk all the major protocols, and these data wires would plug in depending on what protocol you're going to be talking to inside. As he said, this connection is the Gilbarco and the Wayne connection. This center connector is for TOCAIM, and you'd have 3 wires as typically required to talk TOCAIM protocol. And the last one would be for a specialty TMS only protocol. It's a protocol that's developed specially by TMS to talk directly to an easy console where there's no interconnect box inside. It's just a way we daisy chain and wire all of the pumps together and on a common communication loop. He's making his handle switch connections here. He's going to use just simple wire nuts to make sure those wires don't come apart.
Now, when we wired this reset, we designated the light wires with a black and white upstairs and downstairs, so we can isolate them just in case you want to tie them in with the canopy lights with their own neutral and hot.